Hey, this is Tom Jacobs from tdjacobs.com and also healingsuicide.com. I'm an evolutionary astrologer and also a channel, medium, energy worker, psychic, whatever. Do a bunch of different kinds of healing work. Most of that's at tdjacobs.com. This video, free to all on YouTube, is a forecast for the sun's trek through Pisces during 2020. And so first I'm going to start with the transition from Aquarius to Pisces, then talk about the ingress and what really changes and how to understand the month of Pisces versus the month of Aquarius. And then I'll talk about the new moon and a couple aspects the sun makes, and then the Virgo full moon. If you want a full forecast, I do a monthly subscription service called my subscriber service or subscription service. That's available at tdjacobs.com. And there's a bunch of perk rates and classes almost every month, and you can choose from level 1 or level 2. Level 1 is a bunch of stuff, including the forecasts and a class 10 or 11 times a year. Half of those include mini readings, where I look at any subscriber's chart for like 10 or 15 minutes and we go through. And then level 2 is all of that plus the perk rates, plus the monthly guided check-in. Out those two levels and monthly or yearly access at tdjacobs.com. So first I want to talk about the transition Aquarius to Pisces. So this is kind of my deal with this. Think about the zodiac, right? We start in Aries, and when I do my Capricorn thing every year, the winter solstice, I say, well, there are two kinds of astrological new years. One is when the winter solstice and the sun, the rebirth of the solar principle, blah, blah, blah. You can probably find that on YouTube. The second one is the vernal equinox, when the sun enters Aries, right? So if Aries is a beginning, then Pisces is an end, right? So the 12th sign of the zodiac, right? So think about in Aries, things begin. It's springtime and the lambs are born and the bees are buzzing and whatever. The fresh odors in nature, whatever, all the flowers and grasses and whatnot. Well, then it goes to Taurus and Gemini and Cancer and goes all the way around, right, the zodiac. When it hits Aquarius, something, like many things are obvious. How to build something, Capricorn. What you believe, Sagittarius. What's fair and isn't fair, Libra. Virgo, how to become useful or be a team player. All these things are revealed, right? From Aries, I exist, to Taurus, I conserve, Gemini, I explore, whatever I learn. When it gets to Aquarius, the solar month of Aquarius with the sun transiting there, all these things have been seen. Now in Aquarius, the 11th phase of this 12-phase process, there is an important thing about learning to work together for a shared future. So it's about social things and humanitarianism, but it's also about original visions and looking forward and science fiction and imagining new possibilities and finding other weird who want the same weird possibilities that you've envisioned. So it's about community, but it's about creating new community or communities evolving together or individuals going through some individuation processes. Oh, I have an original value system, or this is how I think about things. Let me find other people who have similar takes on things. Creating new community, unplugging from this one, all these kinds of things in Aquarius. But it's about looking at the future, and if what you're doing today builds a future you want to live in. Well, that's the 11th of the 12 phases. This has to do with, it's an air sign. Aquarius is an air sign. So we have logic. We have the ability to be detached and be objective, to see things as they are, to, again, envision different futures, to network, to kind of like connect people together, do all these things, to build and create community, right? To evolve community, all these things. That's kind of the apex. If we think of the 12, parts of the 12 signs of the zodiac, that's kind of the apex of what we're doing as humans, in 3D. So when we get to an emphasis in Pisces, this is true of the sun's trek every year, but any planet going from Aquarius to Pisces, this will hopefully, I like to teach people how to think in a way I call thinking astrologically. So thinking about this, whether it's Mercury or Venus or Mars or planet might go from Aquarius to Pisces, this may be germane, this will be applicable. And in Pisces, you merge, you blend, You surrender, you let go of something. So one of the things that is in common or can be in common between phases 1 through 11, Aries to Aquarius, is logic, is doing, thinking. When it hits a 12th phase, you got to let it all go. Whatever you're doing, you might stop doing it, or you might relax. Whatever you're thinking, you might stop thinking. Whatever you're managing, you might let it go. Whatever you're controlling, that's the other thing. Control is a human tendency that comes from a linear logical self, right? Our brains, our left brain, even though that's my right brain. Um, that is what is also in common between Aries through Aquarius. Doing something. Like there's a task. In Aries, you do it quickly. In Taurus, you do it slowly. In Gemini, you do it 2 different ways. In Cancer, you do it from your heart. But you're doing something all the way around to Aquarius. Okay. Then in Pisces, you have to let it go. You have to surrender. You have to merge. Now, one of the things that can happen with the transition from Aquarius to Pisces is clarity in Aquarius to fogginess in Pisces. And for some, this is very challenging, right? For some of us who are still trying to run our lives using our brains, this is very challenging. But because one of the ways that message from the universe comes is you stop caring about something, or something stops working, or something stops feeling right to you. If you follow my teachings, you'll hear me say quite often, what resonates as capital T true for you? What feels capital R right for you? That's what I'm talking about. That's a Neptunian, Piscean, 12th house kind of vibration. By the way, I don't treat those 3 as the same, but what they have in common is variations on the need to surrender, to merge, to let go of something, to go with the flow, to adapt to circumstance, to find out that you're part of a larger picture. It's not just your brain against the world or other people or circumstance or something. You're actually part of the fabric of what's happening here. So in phases 1 through 11, think about the sun's trek, 11 months so far in the year, you've been doing stuff, making stuff, building stuff, showing, talking, researching, building, buying, selling, whatever, eating, feeding, cooking, whatever, cleaning. You're doing all the things. Sun hits Pisces, part of you might stop caring, or part of you might feel like you don't have the footing to keep up everything you've been doing. It wouldn't be abnormal to want to sleep more during a Piscean time. Now it's the sun in Pisces, right? So it doesn't have to be that way. Sun would be the giant flashlight in the sky, putting your attention on, I would say, control issues or resistance to going with the flow issues, right? Your life history or your current tendencies or your current behavioral conditioning or patterns of not going with the flow, not trusting life, not allowing things to happen. And then in Pisces, you need to allow things to happen. I was just doing a reading for a person today with the North in the 12th house, and part of the message was you hold a vision of where you're headed, and you accept that you don't quite know, you may not know how it's going to happen or what it might look like in the end, but you have a quality of experience fleshed out, not I will do these 3 things and it will be this and the car will be that color, not specifics. My next part has to be this height or shorter than me or taller than me, not specifics, but the quality of experience. And you hold that vision and be part of the universe, being a part of all that is, or divine consciousness, or God, goddess energy, whatever. Your vibration, your intent starts making things happen. Well, if you can stop controlling things, then you're not fighting the way that it's trying to happen. This is a very Piscean teaching. You don't have to fight trying to happen. So let's say you really want to do something, and this month it just isn't happening. Maybe it's not the right thing. Maybe it doesn't suit what's in your highest good. Maybe the motivation, maybe the timing, maybe the plan, maybe the whatever. Maybe ingredients C and D aren't the right ones. So if you can flow with things, you have the opportunity to find out that something better than what your brain came up with in phases 1 through 11 might be there. So one of the tricks with Piscean living is this: you say, this or something better. Like, let's say you really are into this job and you've applied for it, and you have one interview, you have a callback, you're waiting to go in for a second interview or something. And let's say you realize, wow, I'm really kind of attached to that. Let me say this. Okay, this great opportunity or something better. Advanced universe. Okay, so again, that transition from Aquarius to Pisces is from kind of the apex of control of the mind, right? This very advanced kind of air sign energy of Aquarius, right? The genius, the inventor, the iconoclast, the rebel, the forward-looking, you know, iconoclast, right? Eclectic, eccentric inventor. Into Pisces, I need to surrender and let go. So you may see during the solar month of Pisces your tendencies to not let go, to not surrender, to not trust life, to not feel that you're part of the universe, to feel that you can't relax if parts of you can't, conditioning, that patterning. Now, in that context, I want to mention, and the full forecast on this is available to all subscribers, but I just want to mention Mercury is retrograde starting a couple days before the end of Aquarius. So 2 days before the sun enters Pisces, Mercury began a roughly 3-week retrograde period in Pisces, 5 degrees away, just a degrees away from Neptune, also in Pisces. So is this thing also going on right now where, you know, the collective Mercury, right? How our minds are working, what we're able to pay attention to, that might be slipping or fuzzy or foggy or mossy or swampy. So that's also going on where Mercury stations in Pisces close to Neptune. So there is that backdrop in there. So just the sun being in Pisces puts our attention on something. The Mercury bit in Pisces stationing near the Neptune is really adding to the flavor right now, where some people might really just want to get in bed and tune out and zone out and binge watch something, or really just stare out the window and like think about what that squirrel is thinking or something, or that bird, whatever. I don't know. I'm in Oregon right now, and it's weird. There don't seem to be a lot of birds where I live, except crows. It's kind of weird. It's like a Stephen King setup. Anyway, so the sun changes signs Tuesday, February 18th, just before 9 p.m. Pacific time. I think it's like 8:57 Pacific time. So obviously in Europe, Africa, or you know, other parts of the world, it's a little later. And so pretty quick, we have the Pisces new moon. It takes place at 4 degrees Pisces in 28 minutes. I'm going to pull up that chart and talk about that for a little bit. I just want to mention some of the aspects. It's the Pisces new moon, right? So this quiet moment of a rebirth of some, you know, or birth of some new principle or new activity, or planting a new seed. It's 4 degrees away from retrograde Mercury, and it is also conjunct Nessus in Pisces. I'll explain a little about that. A conjunct Eros, E-R-O-S, in late Aquarius, sextile Mars in Capricorn, sextile Uranus in Taurus. So let me pull up that chart, and we'll do a couple minutes on this little tour. Pisces new moon, like that, and then we go like that. Okay, so hopefully you can see that right here. So forget the houses. I just pulled it up to get the exact time for where I live on the west coast of the U.S. So this says 4:29, whatever. About 4.5 degrees Pisces. So a new seed, a new moment. I encourage you to have for new moons intention. Given the themes of the new moon that I'm going to explain to you, and the sign it's in, you know, to have certain intentions. But really with a new moon, you have to allow something to emerge. You can't control it, especially in Pisces. The retro Pisces, Mercury has not passed over the sun yet, but it's involved here. So you can't control things. I'll just say that again. Well, then Eros in Aquarius is conjunct this. Eros is about passion, or what sparks you, or fire, the inspiration, right? That can be creative or sexual, but I like to think of it as the place in you beneath where energy is differentiated between creativity and sexuality. Regarding your own creative process and your own sexual process, you might notice that you're able to do one better when you're able to do the other, like to kind of work in tandem that way. But there's like a spark of creativity, but it's actually in Aquarius. So you might perceive that you need some alone time or quiet time to give space to some idea that's trying to come out, right? That's one idea. That's one note. Nessus at 10 Pisces, right? The Mercury's at 9.5 roughly, and then the Nessus is at 10.5 roughly. So the Nessus is 6 degrees from the sun. And Nessus, my tag phrase for it is living in two worlds. It's an animalistic, instinctive energy, but we live in polite society with mores and rules and laws, with social convention. So we may not honor instinct because we're afraid of losing control, which makes us, suppress something, which leads to losing control. So quite often in people's charts, when Ness is activated or is active or is emphasized, and different astrologers will have different definitions of what that means, but when Nessus is in play in a person's life, say it that way, and obvious, typically that person is trying not to lose control. So think about this: new moon in Pisces, you can't control it. Conjunct Mercury retro in Pisces, you can't control anything. Conjunct Nessus in Pisces, stop trying to control things. That's a huge part of the message here. To see what wants to be birthed from within you, from this quiet internal sensing place of a Pisces new moon. So look at your feelings, look at your emotions, look at your thoughts, look at the energies that move through your body regarding what you eat. Because Nessus is involved. I don't always emphasize food with Nessus, but this instinctive quality, the instinctive awareness that's available to each of us, related to this frequency, paying attention to the body can help us own our animal drives, our animal instincts. So we don't fear what the body does. So we don't fear losing control, right? So anyway, the vibration with the Pisces stuff, the vibration of what you eat, how it's processed, anything you consume, like physically and energetically. So anyway, Nessus is in here saying, part of you wants to suppress your sensation of what you're feeling. Don't. Okay. The sextile to Mars and Capricorn, sextiles trigger things. Mars and Capricorn is trying to be structured, needs to act, but it's trying to be structured, right? So you might notice an urge to do something, but again, you can't and shouldn't try to control things. So that Mars might kind of feel like a weird outlier because you have like the instinct to act. But I'd say it might seem like a weird outlier, but you can actually learn to harness the fire and do something with it, with the inspiration. That could be creative, that could be physical, athletic, sexual, lots of things. And the other sextile is Uranus and Taurus, meaning Mars and Capricorn is trine Uranus and Taurus. I'll go through that in the subscriber materials for this month. And so sextile to Uranus is also new information, insights of a flashing electrical nature, right? About the right ways to do things, the right use of time. So in this sense of this place of sensing kind of what wants to happen, right? What within you seeks expression. That's the Newman and Pisces idea. You might also feel, wait, no, not stepping right. Wait a minute, is that kind of an intuitive thing with the lightning rod of Uranus feeding you information, but you don't know why? Yes, this is right. No, that's wrong. Letting that, I had a joke with friends when I was a younger, where one of them was driving a school vehicle and hit something, and we made a joke about how he was driving by feel. Anyway, you're kind of driving by feel. You're like, if you're in your body, in other words, you have the capacity to sense yes, no. And you think about it, your heart, your emotional field, your energetic field, your body itself, your biochemistry will say yes or no. This is the center of the Lilith, the true Black Moon Lilith teaching that I bring out. So anyway, the embodied, in this case, you're going to feel a bunch of energy around you. So you might want to unplug or take some time to be quiet, to let that thing percolate, to let that thing, because you might feel overly sensitive to how others' energies are working. And also, just by the way, I also went through this in the subscriber thing. Mars going in there, being conjunct the South Node in Capricorn, square the Chiron in Aries, which is conjunct true black moon Lilith, there may be, which you see in this chart, lunation, there may be like, frustration coming up in some people if they can't control things. But again, you're not supposed to control things. But what do you do if you're trying to? So you might need to unplug and be quiet. You may not formally meditate. It's an option, but you don't have to. But that sense of being embodied and really monitoring what's going on in your field and your body is important. All right, so go back to my notes, and then we'll do the full moon here in a minute. Yeah, the sun will remain sextile Mars until the sun sextiles all the Capricorn planets. This will take some weeks to unfold. What I want to say is that the sun is sextile Mars for several weeks. So sun in Pisces puts a lot controlling things. The invitation to go with the flow, to allow things to unfold as they need to realize that you're part of a greater fabric of consciousness, or you're swimming in a stream with all these other beings, or whatever nice Piscean imagery you'd like to play with. I don't know. You're one sunflower in a field of 10 million sunflowers, or 7 billion sunflowers. I don't know. Sextile Mars and Capricorn this whole month, and then into actually the next month. So sextile triggers Mars is looking for something to do, and Capricorn something productive. So again, that kind of not driving by feel, but kind of like, yeah, that kind of sense of where am I led to? What is my instinct doing? What is my body's reaction to the energetic cues around me? Driving by feel, kind of, so to speak. Okay, good. So I do want to point out sextiles trigger and stimulate. Pisces is that I need to let go. Capricorn is that let's get control. So just realize that they'll trigger each other back and forth. And the sun is much bigger, right? Energetically, physically. So the space it takes up in your consciousness and in your process is bigger, but the Mars still has a part to play in trying to stir or trigger things. Then the sun conjunct Neptune, Sunday, March 8th at 18 degrees. And then it will sextile the Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn over the next few weeks, or the next week plus. The sun will, sorry, that's a misremembered note from my other notes. So the triggering effect, sun in Pisces, let go. Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter, and Capricorn, gotta make this happen. Sun's like, let go. If you don't surrender, you might find something slipping through your fingers and not realize it's a blessing. You might think you're doing it wrong. So the teaching of the sun in Pisces is, you know what? Even if you forgot a detail, it's going to work out. Okay. Moving on to the Virgo full moon, Monday, March 9th at 10:08 a.m. Pacific time at 19 Pisces and 37 minutes. So, roughly 19 and a half Pisces. So it's opposite. So Virgo full moon, opposite Sun Neptune, right? Sun conjunct Neptune. Square an asteroid called Argent Suri, which I'll explain, in Sagittarius. Square Lucifer in Gemini, I'll explain that too. Trine Mars, Pallas, Athene, Jupiter, Pluto, and Capricorn. Trine Vesta in Taurus. So there's kind of a lot of details with this next one. I'll try not to make it too jargon heavy, but I can't make any guarantees, of course. Okay, so first of all, we have the sun up here, 1937, moon down here. So as all full moons bring something into awareness, reveal something, right? The moon is reflecting the light of the sun as much as it possibly can. So it's not the dance throughout the whole lunar month, or the lunar process every month of, it starts with the new moon where you can't see anything, and then it kind of like, oh, I'll show you this, and then I'm showing you the whole thing, and then I'm going to retreat again. It's the middle of the process where things are very loud, perhaps, so things are very obvious. It's moon, so it's not, the light of the sun might be aligned with logic, but the moon is a sensory or intuitive or emotional response, the human response to the logic of the sun, right? So the sun in Pisces at this point, 19 and a half days roughly. And at this point with Neptune, already passed over Mercury retrograde in Pisces, let go, hey, let go. At the lunation with the sun conjunct Neptune, that is really loud. Now, for some of you, or us, I could be in this group, the frustration from not being able to control something might be really loud, or the relief of releasing oneself into not having to control things could be really loud. So when the sun's in Pisces, Pisces stuff is medicine. It's what's needed. It's the thing should be paying attention to. Oh, right, I tend to control things. Okay, so in that context of almost 3 weeks of stop trying to control stuff, right? 2 weeks following this Pisces new moon with the Mercury retrograde, the Nessus, stop trying to control things. Then you have the Virgo full moon, which says, but you have to make a choice, but I have to be specific about something. So think of the first few weeks, first almost 3 weeks of the Pisces solar month, as potentially revealing to you where you don't go with the flow and how to correct it by learning to relax, take everything in, stop taking everything so serious as if you should be in charge of everything, as if a period or a comma were misplaced, that your reputation would be damaged. Whatever you're trying to control, your language, your appearance, your timing, you showing up on time, whatever it is. Virgo full moon then says not, but now you have to control everything. The Virgo full moon says, but wait a minute, to be happy and healthy right in this moment, I do need to be specific about something. So think about that first part of the Pisces month as like, let me see how I can take a global approach to not controlling things. Then the Virgo full moon says, wait a minute, I do need to control something. Not control, maybe manage. I do need to be discerning. I need to make a choice. I need to make a list of 5 things and pick the one that really needs attention and take action. Take responsibility. Own that, be duty oriented. These are Virgo ideas. So for some of you who have strong Virgo stuff going on, this month might seem kind of weird and confusing. This message I'm giving you might seem convoluted. Don't control stuff, but figure out how you make a choice or be discerning in order to intentionally manage something around this full moon. But you feel, and other people might feel, the lunacy of a full moon, tension because I can't control something, or I'm trying to. That Virgo full moon might actually feel like a lot of, or a modicum, it's up to you, it might feel like a modicum or 10 tugboats, or not tugboats, 10 like barges full of anxiety. But what if? I don't know what's going to happen. Everyone else isn't paying attention. I'm trying to do this thing and the timing and the blah, 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 and I can't find, and I don't know where I left the periods. So that can be saying anxiety rising. So your task is to get grounded and realize, okay, right, part of me wants to control things. What in this moment do I need to be discerning about? And how can I intentionally manage something? How can I choose something with a grounded, practical perspective and not slip back into some assumption that my worth as a human rests in being perfect? That's where all the control shit comes from. So how can I relax for 19 and a half days? How can I allow this Pisces new moon energy with the retro Mercury and Nessus? How can I allow myself, right, to flow? But then notice what is actually needing to be done around the full moon. So it could be you, it could be somebody else in your life who says, but wait a minute, we do need to be specific about this detail. Or why won't anybody pay attention to this detail, right? That frustration and anxiety and control stuff. So just notice that is a big going on this month. Now, again, Sun conjunct Neptune. Sun puts the light on Neptune, the giant flashlight of the sky, highlighting Neptunian issues. Neptune sextile Jupiter and Pluto. So Pluto and Saturn have been doing that dance since, say, March 19, will continue within 5 degrees of orb to November of 2020. They've been dancing. Are you in charge of your life? Are you in control, right? Saturn's been moving a little bit away. Now Jupiter's coming in to say, can you believe that tomorrow can be better? Maybe things are hard. Maybe you've been through a lot. But Jupiter's saying, can you acknowledge you're actually stronger? And these planetary things have been inspiring you to see how you can envision a better tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. It's got this pep talk, right? It wants you to believe in a better tomorrow and do something constructive about it. But the Sun conjunct Neptune says, stop trying to control things. So think about that where the sex was triggering. But again, you're not supposed to control things. You can learn to intentionally manage things. And so we have Pluto and Jupiter trine the moon in Virgo. You can learn to intentionally make a constructive choice for the right reason without trying to control everything. Okay. Let me just look here. What else is going on here? Yeah. That is what I have for you on this part. So let me just go back to the notes and see what else is going on. Yeah, and then the rest of the solar month, the sun story is about the sextiles to the planets in Capricorn. So that thing about, how can I take action but have it be with what feels true to me, sun in Pisces, right? Not just acting because I'm trying to control things so I turn out to be worthy of respect or support. Then toward the end of the month of Pisces, Sun will begin a conjunction to Chiron and Aries, and at the end, then it's just a few degrees away. So that'll be more square the nodes, those two, Sun, Chiron together in Aries. So then you get this highlight, giant flashlight in the sky, putting light on vulnerability and sensitivity and energetic awareness and all kinds of issues about what am I supposed to do with fire, Chiron and Aries. So stay tuned for that next month, and you can check out the subscription service at tdjacobs.com. If you want to do the ongoing monthly subscription, I post the links on my subscription page from the 15th to the end of the 18th every month to collect new ongoing subscriptions in the middle of the month for bookkeeping sanity for Tom. But you can always do a one-off month and try it at any time during the month. And also you can always opt to do a yearly subscription too. So anyway, thanks for your time and energy. I hope this stuff is helpful. Happy Pisces. Take care.